Before we begin, make sure you have done the following setup to allow the reverb system to work correctly. Firstly, make sure your project enables source data overdrive for Modal Spatial. Next, in your attenuation settings file, make sure you enable source data overdrive as well. And you have to set your meta sounds graph to use a settings file with source data overdrive enabled. This will allow the graph to read data from our interface automatically. Finally, you have to add our dynamic reverb component to your character, so it can scan your scene and update the data of our interfaces automatically. Now let's create a graph with the reverb effect. Using a reverb flow is pretty straightforward. You only need to pass your SFX into our MSP graphs, then connect all the data from the interfaces accordingly. And as mentioned in previous videos, you need to use a flag to make sure Unreal has updated interface data before running. In this update, not only did we greatly simplify the reverb flow, we also further improved the algorithm to truly support stereo reverb. Firstly, the input audio is specialized using the HRTF node, then distance attenuation is applied to it, and finally early and late reverb effects are created and added back at the output. This is the local flow, which means if you use this graph, each of your sounds will have its own reverb node. This graph is meant to be used when you need to do reverb differently, like for certain cinematic effects. Generally, to greatly reduce CPU and memory costs, you should use the global reverb flow. The global flow is how reverb is normally done. It requires two separate graphs. This one is the graph you will add to each of your SFX graphs. The outputs from the distance attenuation will be written to a global reverb bus. Audio buses allow you to merge the audio from all other graphs. Then in this graph, the reverb is processed. Even with 1 or 10 SFX, you will only run one reverb node, which greatly reduces the cost. Remember to place this graph permanently in your scene for it to run. Previously, the global flow didn't let you preview the result directly, so in this update we introduce a reverb preview node. What this node does is that if it detects you're running inside a metasounds graph, it will create the reverb and mix it with the direct sound. Otherwise, if you're running in Pi or in standalone builds, it will simply pass the direct sound to the output. Being able to preview the reverb effect while designing your SFX graph will greatly improve your iteration speed. Okay, let's take a closer look at the new reverb node. It is a combination of our late reverb node with a double-nested all-pass filter structure, so it can create both early and late reverb seamlessly. By setting its update parents to true, when input parameters are changed, the node will update them accordingly. The bigger the room, the longer the reverb, but the loudness is also reduced due to air absorption and spreading loss. This parameter controls how fast the loudness is reduced. A value lower than 1 will make bigger rooms sound louder. Now the same is also applied to the enclosing factor. The non-enclosed or outdoor factor describes how much your room is not covered by walls. Reduce this parameter if you want your reverb to be louder in outdoor environments. Decay min claims the lowest decay rate of your audio is just a safeguarding parameter. These parameters are connected to our interface, and you can see that in this version we also introduce material absorption. These 6 frequency bands follow the ISO standard for material absorption factors. With these, a room full of wooden objects will now have a different reverb compared to a room full of metal. To further understand them, we need to go back to the dynamic reverb component. The reverb component now has a map of common materials and their absorption values. You can modify or extend this map, but you have to make sure the names of your physical materials match the entries in the map. For example, here are all the physical materials used in the demo. These names match the entries inside a map. If your object doesn't have a physical material or no entry is matched, the default value will be used. This default value is the average absorption of a symphony hall, which is what we use to create the parameters of the reverb node in version 2.0. Okay, before we switch to the demo, let me explain some other important parameters. This bool allows you to turn HRTF on and off globally through the interface. Trace tick controls how fast the component scans the scene. The default value is for mobile devices, which has a moderate adaptation speed. You can set it higher for faster scene scanning. We use async line traces so it won't block the game thread. And if your game thread is slower than the trace tick, it will automatically be increased accordingly. Trace channel is the collision channel of our line trace. You can use the camera channel or set up a dedicated channel for reverb. The advanced room analysis method will calculate room size, enclosed factor, open room factor, and the average material absorption of your scene. The algorithm is optimized so it can even run on mid-range mobile devices without affecting your game performance. But it requires more than 64 collision points to be accurate. So if your character movement is very fast, like when driving a car or something, and the trace tick can't scan the scene fast enough, you might need to turn it off and use the simple method instead. The simple method only requires 8 points, so its accuracy is not very good, and it only calculates room size and enclosed factor, but it's lightning fast in the nanosecond range. This parameter controls how frequently the advanced analysis method will rerun to update your scene parameters. A value of 1 means it will run after 8 line traces and 2 means after 16 line traces. A value between 2 and 8 should work well. These are for debugging. Note that these are only valid inside the editor. They are automatically removed in development or shipping builds. This option will print the calculated room parameters to the output log window. This one draws the room map, and this one draws the box map. As usual, all the sounds are generated using the plugin except for the music and vocals. We changed the demo here to a hall announcement scene.
This is a very boring speech that I generated with Google Translate. This is a very boring speech that I generated with Google Translate. This is a
But every scar reminds my soul I've walked this road, I paid the toll.
In this new demo, we added a new room to demonstrate material absorption. You can go inside each room to see how the system reacts. Obviously, this is for demonstration purposes only. In a real scene, your room won't be made of just one material like this. It will be a combination of many physical objects. A real scene will be more like standing right here. The reverb component will get the average material absorption at each collision block. For example, this block right here contains concrete, metal, and the default floor material. The average value will depend on how many times each of these objects is hit by the line traces. The idea is that the more an object is hit by line tracing, the higher its contribution to the collision block. It's a simple but effective method. Then when the advanced method is run, it will combine the average absorption of each block and the enclosed factor to calculate the average absorption of the room across 6 frequency bands. We use the setbeam equation to calculate the decay rate of the reverb over frequencies and room sizes. The setbeam equation is traditionally used for symphony hall reverb calculations.
This road I paid the toll. Cold nights, heavy crowds. I learned to stand when hope fell down. The dark still whispers what I lack, but I don't turn, I don't look back. Every breath is counting now. Every fear is breaking ground. I was born inside the fire. I rise higher, higher, higher. I run into the storm unearned. With thunder in my heart, no change can hold, no fake.
We also improved the accuracy of our analysis method. Now it won't detect incorrect enclosed factors even in locations with a large roof but no walls, like this. This part tries to simulate common building and rooftop scenes. This part is for Long Valley areas. These ones look a bit weird, but it's great to see how the reverb changes when you move in and out of cover. This big randomness section in the middle is for forests and city scenes. We would love to build a real scene with appropriate textures and landscape materials, like in the car demo. I have a big collection of free 4K scenes from epic giveaways, but I will make the demo size too large. Like, I doubt anyone wants to download a demo larger than 10 gigabytes. For a completely outdoor scene, we've changed the behavior so there's still reverb. Before, if the enclosed factor was 0, the algorithm assumed it was a completely empty scene, so there was no reverb. But now it assumes that reflective objects are upside the line traces, so you can still hear low-frequency reverb. Okay, let's move on to some more advanced topics. First of all, the reverb algorithm. Our algorithm follows an unconventional method of approximating convolution using recursive modal calculations. Its quality is comparable to convolution reverb. For example, here is the result of convolution reverb using a real room impulse response. These background noises can be ignored. And here is the result of our algorithm with the same room parameter. There are no background noises because we do not use the impulse response, but an encoded version of it. Compared to uniform partition convolution, which is commonly used for real-time reverb, our method is faster when the reverb is longer than 1 second. Its cost is constant, while convolution increases non-linearly with longer reverb times. This is the reason why Unreal or Wise will cut and limit your impulse response length. Our method also has very low latency because it runs in the time domain instead of using FFT blocks. And the most important advantage is that we can modify its parameters dynamically through scene analysis. With Convolution Reverb, you need to manually set the impulse response for an entire region. And you also have to fade between different impulse responses at transitions, which nearly doubles the cost. It might sound a bit too good to be true, but that's because our system is completely designed from the ground up for real-time tasks. For offline tasks like in DAW programs, convolution is still king for simulating real locations. For future updates, we want to allow users to manually set the reverb for a scene. While the system can do everything automatically, sometimes you want finer control in special areas. For example, when standing in a warehouse full of thin metal plates, you would want to hear that metallic vibration effect in a reverb. The automatic analysis method can't capture that. There is a limit to how much we can analyze in real time without slowing down your game thread. Currently, you can manually set room size and other factors using these two functions in our component. This will stop the analysis and use your input values directly. This other function resumes the analysis, but honestly, they are not very useful. In the future, we want to allow you to set presets instead, like metal warehouse, Rockavalleys, churches, and so on. Creating these presets is easy. It's how we compared the results with Convolution Reverb earlier. The challenge is designing them to work nicely with the whole system and deciding how much control to give users. Who knows, maybe you want a church made of metal instead of bricks. This video wraps up all the new systems in version 2.4. There is also an improvement to the piano hammer noise generation as we promised before. Anyway, we will push the update to the marketplace soon. I hope you find this tutorial helpful, and I'll see you again when the next update is ready.